Now, you're doing most of this then at the home that will have floor covering installed in it, or a business. They don't come to your place, you go to theirs.
Right, because we are, our team's in an environment where we have a lot of tourists and people that come seasonally. We do business in the homeowners, we do their second homes, we do a lot of rentals and flip houses, investor type houses, a lot of non-occupieds where we're going in with a lockbox and measuring and doing the flooring.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also do Main Street commercial, from diners and restaurants, so we've done country club work and high-end offices. So,
now how about personnel? Low budget operation, I have to assume you don't have a lot of salespeople standing around your warehouse. Talk about that end of it.
It's a kind way to say that,
yeah.
Right. So the idea is to have everybody be productive. Whatever seat they're sitting in, I want to give them the best opportunity they can to be successful, and successful not only with compensation, but also in doing what they enjoy and what they're best at. And I think it's really important to have all those seats filled with the people doing what they do best, rather than have them do a job they don't like. But you don't see a lot of people, there's nobody really standing around. Our warehouse manager's busy. The people we're hiring for support staff in the office, they're going to have a list of duties that will be ongoing to keep them busy. And it's really about creating a system, not only of delivering the product, but communicating with the consumer and our vendors effectively, because I see that to be one of the biggest breakdowns in our industry, quite frankly, is the communication process that goes all the way around the circle. A lot of times there's a break in the chain. So as a result, we're looking for the very best people too. We don't want to surround ourselves with a bunch of people that have no experience.
Yeah.
We are looking for experienced people who have sales knowledge and how to service and the application of our product. Because in our market, there's a lot of moisture issues. We have issues where we have to use sound barriers and lots of floor preparation. Mm-hmm. And those folks have to know what they're doing, or they can make multi-$1,000 errors in one bad calculation.
So then, comparing this to a sample operation where you had a store on a heavily traveled place, you have fewer people than, say, that normal?
Definitely.
Whatever the word is.
Yeah, the ratio is definitely different, where you're going to have X number of people to do X number of dollars in volume. Ours is drastically lower than that. And the reason being is because there's no fluff in the equation, there's no time lost, there's no salesman really sitting behind a desk waiting for something to happen. We're out there making it happen. It's just a different environment. And we have to, because we're not retail. We're not the traditional retail model.
So when you say the people that you have, so you do have salespeople.
Yes.
It's just that they're not standing around playing solitaire. They're out knocking on doors, and they're responding to leads that you've gotten from networking, and they're networking too, I suppose.
Correct. They're out there actively networking themselves and looking for opportunities. I mean, they're all over the place to do work. When there's cranes in the air like there are downtown in our market, and there's subdivisions going on, we may not necessarily be doing the new construction side of that business, because that's a little different, but we do know that when someone moves into that new unit, they're selling an old one. And there's another sale taking place, and there's another redo or renovation happening. And there's countless commercial applications where we can go knock on doors or meet with contractors or developers or designers and say, hey, what's in the future for your renovation company? Is there a way we can get in, assisted living, whatever the avenue is.
So there's a lot of knocking on doors, calling up people. I see. And what, almost everybody does that then?
Well, and you know what that does? You start meeting more and more and more people, and then your name of your company gets out into the marketplace, and it becomes effective, because then they start talking about your brand instead of just you talking about it.
How many people do you have that are actually networking and knocking on doors?
Total right now, I'd say about four. 4 people that are actively seeking out business.
Including you?
Including myself, yes. Oh, yeah. I'm running my own sales. I still love doing that, but as I see this is growing now, I know that I have to spend a little bit more time on the back end of the business, and standing above it and looking down a little bit just to see what might be broken and fix it. But it's relationships, whether it's the employees, the vendors, or the customers. This is all about relationship.
It sounds like an operation like this. I mean, you started out from ground zero. You didn't even live in the town, really, before you went there. So, I mean, nobody knew who you were.
Right.
You didn't have a lot of people that you had made, who had been your friends or business associates. Getting something like this started, it sounds like it would be a slow start.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but I was nervous. I was nervous that the only people I knew in town were my mom and dad on one side of the county, my in-laws on the other, and I'd met one gentleman that was in the business of flipping houses who was from the UK, nonetheless, and we just knew it, and that was the 5 people I knew when I moved to town. And then I met some great people like Ken Torres, who was working with us, and Doug Bateman, and Brittany, and just.
But this was through networking.
Yes, and then all these people it just spawned out from there. And what happens is when things are done right, and let me back up too. The people that are doing all the work are not me. I've set this up, and we're organizing a system and a team, but the execution is being done by the warehouse people, the people measuring the jobs, the people installing the jobs, most importantly, and they're not me. So I'm blessed to have found some really good people to get that off the ground, because had we not been successful in the early days with the jobs we were doing right out of the gate, this could be an entirely different story right now.
Yeah, if you could go back and do this all over again, start from square one, what would you change about what you've done?
It's a great question. I probably would have been quicker to implement the software systems and the communication systems, more technology-driven communication systems, because that definitely slowed me down early on, but I was undecided how I was going to play that game and what was most important in communication. And every day as we talk to the rest of the team members, it's, hey, what can we do to make this a little more efficient, just to tweak it a little bit. And it doesn't mean we have to make a $10,000 investment in some tool. It just means we have to be cognizant that we have something that needs to be addressed.
So what did you do software-wise then?
We actually, looking at everything, and there's no disrespect to any of the proprietary software, we're running QuickBooks Pro. A web-based program. It's online, capable from anywhere we can get an internet connection. It's got a version now that does purchase ordering and job costing. And until we get really heavy into inventory, where barcoding to a large degree is going to be a big deal, it's not necessary for us right now, because we're able to track everything we need from customer data to the thank you card in our system without doing any major upgrades. And because it allows us the ability to be on the fly, all of our people are out in the field with a laptop or an iPad, being able to conduct business, a card swiper for their phone or their iPad to run the credit card if need be, and everything at their disposal to email to the rest of the organization what's going on, including the installation teams, which is really important. These guys are tech savvy as well, believe it or not. They're good guys and they're tech savvy, and we're emailing their details so they know up front what they're going to be walking into.
Now,
or if we have a question.
Yeah, you had talked about at the beginning of our conversation about expansion, about duplicating this, which is the way I guess most people do it. And I guess with the situation that we have now, a lot of people are telling me that if we have 11, 12,000 retailers now, 6-8 years, we may have 5, 6, 8,000, something like that.
Sure.
So that means that the people who are going to be left are probably going to get bigger. So, all that to say this. Talk about getting bigger. How do you duplicate this around with low overhead, you being one of the movers and shakers in this?
Well, I think it's important not to start taking on business just to take on business. Don't leave your niche. Don't leave what's going to make you successful ongoing just to get more volume, because you may not be actually calculating what the costs of diversifying into those niches is going to be. That's number one. But more importantly, it's finding people. This is, I hate to be Marcus Lemonis here, but this is people, process, and product. That's all it is. We have the product. We know what we're selling. It's flooring. We have the process now. We're developing what we feel is a very simple process for our consumer, and then even simpler for our people to maintain and execute. And then it's, develop a promotion for this. Now we have to, how do you get it to the next level? And that's adding new people. For example, in our market, now we're taking on, as we speak, as of October 1st, we're going to have some shared space with a local retailer that's going to allow us a retail type footprint without any of the costs associated with that, to give us more exposure and to brand us. We have people moving into the market north of us, Pinellas County and Hillsborough County, that after December 15th are going to be taking our brand into that market. When I mean taking our brand, meaning they're going to be executing this networking, building 24/7 there, selling, servicing that market. And that's a county we're not in right now. Right now, we're servicing Manatee, Sarasota, and sometimes down into Charlotte County. This will put us north over the bridge towards Tampa, but not in the Tampa market necessarily. And what we're looking to do is just find those people that want to command an area, take the systems and products we're developing and the relationships we're developing, and go out and execute. And we want them to be handsomely paid for that. We want them to make way more money in our operation than they could doing it with anyone else, simply because A, that's going to incentivize them to come with us. Why not give them the best shot? And two, we're going to keep our overhead at a level that we can afford to pay them that and not charge it to our customers.
Why not just do that yourself? I mean, network in the other county or whatnot, or have your people do that? Or basically, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's because it takes people. So I'm only one person. And no matter how many family members I have, we're only one family. But if we create our family and circle these people around us, and you got to remember, a lot of these people might be the people that would be looking to open up their own location because they're just too good to be selling for a large organization where their commissions cut to a very small margin, primarily because those operations have really high overhead and that's how they have to pay. Or if they're going to go do another van-based operation where they're going to order and pay another company or supplier above the cost of their materials, so they're making on both sides. I want this to be lean and say, okay, you're going to run your own business in a sense, but everything is backed up, run by, funded by 24/7, and we're going to do the job of building the brand and the baseline for these people to operate.
And the product selection is what you basically have and what arrangements you've made.
Yeah, and so, we haven't left the state of Florida, so we're comfortable that the markets we're so new, we're 11 months old, but we're confident that the product selection we have for our market currently is good, but that doesn't mean we're not taking input daily from those who will be in the field saying, hey, this item is really hot in this market, or out in this beach area, this is really big, and we're going to take all of that into consideration and continue to, that's a never-ending sequence of tweaking,
What other avenues for expansion might you consider?
Well, a lot of people say, why don't you go online? Why don't you have more of an... Now, our online presence is very simple. What's our name? What do we do? And how do you get a hold of us? I don't think we're e-commerce. I don't think that's who we are right now. That's a different ballgame, different environment. I think it requires a much larger back end than people realize, and just a different set of rules in the game. So that's a possibility, but I don't see it anytime in the near future. I see that if we continue to market around our existing area, our Florida-based market, and work what we've been doing, I don't think we change this very much right now. Still too new. That the right expansion is just to simply have more people in different markets that we can service. And then the next step, obviously, is we're going to need another distribution facility. The one we're operating out of is fine for the markets we're in. And if we double our business tomorrow, we don't have to increase that size. But if we go into other markets that are in excess of 30, 40 miles away from us, we need to look at where we would put a satellite or another distribution facility to have the product for availability to ship in and out.
I see. That's interesting.
Samples can travel, but inventory cannot. Without a high cost.
The products that you've selected, I suspect going in, you had a pretty good idea as to what products you were going to put in the warehouse, and I'm sure that's changed a bit since you started.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, we started initially saying, let's make sure we have some ready-to-ship carpet inventory. Let's find out what colors and styles are going to fit, and then let's talk about doing LVP as well. We have found that with the relationships we have with our suppliers, it's not necessary for us to stock as much as we might have thought to get the value. And because, in my opinion, a lot of the hard surfaces depend on a lot of things. How much inventory do they have? Price point, of course, is a concern. Do they have the matching transitions in stock as well? How long will it take us to get it? So on and so forth. And do I really need to have 100 SKUs of hard surface inventory in my inventory? Or can I work off of my suppliers by making the relationship beneficial for both parties? That being said, carpet's a great item that we keep 17 to 20 SKUs in stock all the time. And it moves, 80% of it moves very quickly. So our turns have been very successful, and that's because we're kind of fortunate too. Florida is one of those markets you don't have to have the dark browns and the flex to the degree that you might have in other markets. We can center in on certain products, but that's always changing. And where we thought maybe an investment in some of the luxury vinyl planks would be a good idea, and when we weigh it against what our costs are to carry it, maybe it isn't. So many local suppliers, and LVP is such a hot product that if you have a good baseline operation and you're treating your vendors fairly and paying on time, you're going to get the pricing you need to be successful selling it without having the inventory. So for us right now, again, that's all lent to the low cost. If my costs were much higher, I would be looking at shaving some of those things down lower, but with costs being lower,